Hey, so I'm going to walk through how to create a portfolio site using just Notion and Super. The first part of the equation is Notion. So here I just made an example Notion page. This is the main homepage with intro text, little image, and then the inside of this page, there's some sub pages here. On the left side, I have an about page that includes a little bit more information, a work page that shows some projects, and a blog page that shows some blog posts. You'll notice I also have a separate section called databases. So you could, in theory, just have all of the projects in one place here on the page in line. But I like the idea of having them separated so that you can have a collection of all of your things that might get filtered on different views. So for example, here I have 7 different projects, but inside of the work page, I'm only showing 5 of them. So I did that because I want to have a place where I can store a bunch of projects and just have an archive of them, but when I'm presenting it to people, I want to be able to filter it to only show things that I feel like make sense for this particular person that I want to talk to. Basically, we have a main homepage, an about page, a work page, and a blog page. If you click on one of these projects, you can see a little bit more information about it. So that's the basic structure. I have some additional tags and stuff set up here, but I'm hiding them because I don't really need to see them. Now that I have this set up, I can go to share and then click on this share to web toggle and then just copy this link here. Once you copy that, you can go to that link and you'll see this is basically what it looks like from Notion without Super being applied to it. It just has the kind of standard Notion component look and feel. It looks basically exactly like it did in Notion for the most part. So you can kind of see what this looks like here. But there's no sort of, navigation or anything like that, and the colors are very plain. To get this into Super, I'm just going to take this same URL here. So I'm going to copy this link and then go to my Super dashboard and then click on Create Site, give it a name, and then paste the URL here. So then you would click this. But I've already created it, so I'm going to just go back here and go to this example portfolio. It'll bring you to this dashboard, and it should look kind of like this. It'll show a preview of your site over here. You can see as a starting point, it looks pretty much like it did in Notion, but all of your content should be here. So that's kind of exciting. You kind of see all the stuff that you were expecting. And then if you go to the actual URL, you can see it. At the very least, it doesn't show all that extra stuff up here from Notion. A little bit cleaner, but I still want to customize this a little bit more. So inside the dashboard, I can go to a couple different settings. Inside of settings, you can do things like change the names, update favicons and stuff. You can also give it a prettier domain. That's the default domain it'll give you, but you can add custom domains if you want. Pages, it's automatically pulling in the pages that are nested under this page in Notion. You can see it's just following the same structure that I have here for the most part in terms of the pages available. You can also add SEO stuff, which I'm not going to bother with right now, but the main thing is design. The nice thing about Super is that you can take this Notion page as a starting point and then customize it to make it look less like it was made in Notion. One easy way to do that is to change some of the colors. So we got color palettes. They have a couple default ones to pick from in both like a light mode and a dark mode. So I'm going to pick this lavender one, the dark mode version, because that's kind of cool. And then if you want to, you can also adjust these other colors as well. And then I'm going to just save that for now. You can also change some of the typography. I'm going to change this main font to something like space. That's kind of fun. You can also adjust sizing of things. I think this seems fine for now. Back to design. If you want to tweak the width of your pages, you can do that. Also, how much rounded corners on images and padding. And oh, the other thing is that by default, all of your pages will show up on the main homepage, but I don't really like how this looks, so I'm actually going to hide these so that they won't show up to people, but they'll still work for us. I don't have any covers in this example, but you can also change where this main title, hangs out. So let's just put it in the middle for now. So yeah, so I've hidden my pages, but you'll see that, I have no way to get to them now. So I'll want to save my changes. And then I'll come back to this in a second, but I'm just going to go to this nav bar first really quick. By default, the navigation is pretty simple. It's just sort of this breadcrumb style. So if you click on this as an example, you kind of see what happens. It just shows you where you came from. But there's also other options for the navigation. So you could do things like a little simple one, balanced, or minimal. It doesn't look like anything's happening right now because I don't have any items added to the navigation. Let's do this. So I'll set it to minimal now and then just have to add some items to the nav bar. So I'll look for a page. So I have an about page. Add that. And then I have a work page. Add that. And I also have a writing page. Okay. So now you can see it's just inside of this little thing, but I can also change it so that it has centered nav or just kind of a simple nav on the right. And then for the logo, you can change it to whatever logo, or you could also upload an image and you can also play around with this sizing and stuff. This nav bar can also have some additional styles. We can change the size of it, tweak colors and stuff, add a little bit of shadows, but I think this is fine for now. Then also make it sticky so that when I'm scrolling, it stays up there. And if I wanted to, I can also add a little button or something, but I think that's fine for now. There's also the ability to add a footer. So if you want to have some stuff down here at the bottom, maybe you want to link to your about page here again, just, I don't know, for fun. Do that, have that show up at the bottom. Maybe you want to have a mail to or something. So that'll show up at the bottom. And you can also style this one differently. Maybe you want a little bit different than everything else. So far it's pretty good. The one thing I wanted to come back to was actually in the design section. In the work, by default, some of these cards inside of your databases might show up a little differently, but you can go into databases and change things like hiding or showing the little icon for the page. I'm hiding it because I feel like it gives away the notionness if I show it, but you can keep it if you want. You can also play around with different shadows under these cards and sizing of this text, spacing between these items, and the actual height of these things as well. So yeah, there's a lot to play with. And let's see, blocks. Oh, this is for little things like callouts. So for example, in my about section, I have these little callouts here that just kind of explain what this is all about. So I have icons here, but you can choose to hide them in the page if you want. And you can also add some little shadows or a lot of shadows, whatever, if you're into that. And let me see, save these changes. Yeah, so I guess if you want to, you can also save these as themes so that you can reuse them for yourself. I have a couple different ones already kind of saved as examples for myself, just so I was playing around with them, but we'll just leave it like this for now. And then if you want to do more customization, you can totally add some CSS and stuff, but it doesn't show up on the site unless it's a paid site. So for this example, I'm just going to leave this alone for now, but you can already do quite a bit of customization without having to get to the CSS, so that's pretty cool. And in the options page, you can also play around with a couple other things. So if you want stuff being able to search or being able to let people toggle the light mode in the UI, you can. I'm going to leave those off. But yeah, that's basically it. Check out the live one. You can see how it looks here. Cool. Basically, the nice thing is like now that this is kind of set up, now that they're linked together, I can just stay in Notion for all of my content. So I'll just like make some changes. Okay, so I've changed this text here. Go back here. Page. So you'll see this looks like it's not updated. It does take a second to update, and if it's being slow, you can do this little refresh thing, and you'll see it's updated with the content that I made in Notion. Yeah, that's basically it. I think it's pretty cool, and yeah, fun to play with.